trap buyers and sellers. Okay, this can occur anytime in the markets. This can happen with SM and amateur traders alike. So sometimes the smart money gets trapped, sometimes or most of the times the amateur traders get trapped. And usually this will happen when strong limit or aggressive selling does not lead to expected market behavior. Once these traders realize that they are trapped, they will either start throwing their positions, or they will start taking opposite actions like trying to hedge their positions, but both will push the auction in the direction opposite to what they were intending the market to go in. All right, let us look at examples. Now, this could be an excellent example. Actually, it has not yet worked out, but still, you can see there is a lot of selling imbalance in this zone. All right, now these sellers, we don't know whether they are smart money or amateur money chasing a breakdown, but these sellers are trying to push the auction lower. It did go lower, okay, but now it is moving sideways. Now these zones are absolutely crucial. Okay, so let me mark them. These are the zones where we saw aggressive sellers taking control of the auction. Now, if the auction, instead of continuing down, goes back up, finds acceptance, goes back up, finds acceptance, and crosses these aggressive sellers, what will happen? These guys will start thinking whether their rationale of selling was correct or not. All right, and if their rationale is proven wrong, the only thing they can do now is either hedge their positions or cover their positions, and all their covering and hedging will only push the auction higher. But one more thing can happen. The auction can come into this zone. As soon as these sellers see auction coming here, they think that okay, we sold here earlier, let us defend the price. So either from here or from this zone, the smart money sellers will defend the price to the downside, if at all prices come there. And what will happen? These areas of stacked buying and selling will act as resistance. Right? So even though we can see some opposite activity coming in, that is buying coming in at this level, it is struggling to move the auction above VWAP, but that is not the only reference. Above VWAP, we have these stacked sellers, and these will act as resistances. But if they are crossed, then the up move will gather more power on the back of short covering by these aggressive sellers, if at all this thing happens. But if we come here and we get resisted, then again the downtrend will resume, or we will end up moving sideways for the day. All right, so this is how stacked buying and selling can be used as support or resistances. See, we can spot a few quickly here. You can see these stacked sellers. All right, so we have these stacked sellers, then we have these stacked sellers, finally we have these stacked sellers. All right, now you can see what is happening is aggressive selling happened in this zone, in this zone, in this zone, and it pushed the auction lower. The auction then started struggling, moving sideways because opposing activity came in. We saw a lot of limit buying happening, delta divergence is happening. Then the prices went to this first aggressive sell zone, and see what happens here. It provides resistance for 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, so almost an hour, right? But then finally the buyers absorb all the supply here, and then these guys give up, and you get this sharp move higher through these sellers. All were covering their short positions. Again, you see we struggle here for a while. Again, they give up. Again, you see a spike higher. So every time you were trading in one of these aggressive sell zones, the traders absorbed the supply and auction kept on going higher and higher. And these trapped sellers were adding to the buying pressure because they were covering their position or hedging their position. And that is why you get such sharp moves, because those are short covering moves. All right. So this is another example of where these trapped buyers and sellers, they try to act as a resistance. Now, if we had turned down from here, we would have said that these aggressive sellers, they held the fort, they pushed the auction lower. But since they could not, we saw higher prices. So that is how, stacked buying and selling can be used as supports and resistances. All right. Now, as we move forward with this intensive and a membership, of course, we will look at many more such examples. Okay, we will come across many such examples. As and when we come across these examples, I will share them with you and we will discuss it, how we can use it in our trading, how we can form our trading views based on that. So you don't have to worry too much right now if you don't understand all these concepts crystal clear, because we will come back to them. All right. And yeah, that's the order flow support and resistances that we also discussed. Let me quickly go through it. These are the trapped buyers or sellers. Sometimes they act as support or resistances. Okay. Usually, I'll just go to that chart again. Here, these traders were not yet trapped. All right. But sometimes the trapped sellers, when they are revisited, they will act as support or resistance. All right. So just for, let's say a hypothetical scenario, let us look at that. So let's say buyers do manage to push the auction higher through these sellers. So first and foremost, they are expected to provide resistance here. But if we cross above that, then this resistance will actually become support. So when we come back down, they will actually support the prices. Okay, so this is very simple. We know that support becomes resistance, becomes support kind of a thing when they are cross. Something similar happens here. So first and foremost, they are expected to provide resistance here. But if they do not and we cross, when it comes back down, it can actually provide support. All right. So that is how these trapped buyers and sellers work. So as I'm saying, usually when they get trapped at a certain price level, the prices, if they get revisited, it will provide support or resistance. They will try to defend that price zone. All right. But one has to be very, very careful while, attaching significance to these references. As I said, this thing goes on and on and on on an order flow chart. Especially if you are watching an order flow chart on a very, very low time frame, that is a 5-minute chart, let's say. These things will keep on happening all the time, everywhere on the chart. And if you are not careful enough, sometimes you will get misled or misdirected with your analysis, and you will end up, looking at that particular market in the wrong way. You will mess up your context and you might end up getting hurt. So please be very, very careful when you are looking at these examples. All right. You have to understand that smart money will use every trick in the book to mislead you, to misguide you. So unless and until you have a very, very strong context behind your analysis, your trade idea, don't just rely on these action points to get you in and out of your trades. All right.